Okay, this is the first of the Cousin Simpson videos, and I decided that I would send you a video in commemoration of you getting the internet, so you can actually go on the internet, see this video, and here's a guitar lesson for you, okay? I do want to say one thing about what I'm about to show you, and that is that I'm using what I call alternative tuning. And it was called alternative tuning when I was your age. And I heard John Renbourn use it, and Bert Jansch, and who else? Richard Thompson, Martin Carthy, and it's very useful, this alternative tuning. It's D, A, D, G, A, D. It's useful because where it started in the British Isles, you know, music of England, Wales, Ireland, Scotland. You play music from those cultures, the traditional music of those cultures, and it allows you to keep some of the strings sustaining in the bass while you do things on the top, giving you that feel of a kind of a folk group playing. And it's very, very useful for that reason. A lot of other people came up with a lot of different alternative tunings, which is why all of them were grouped together and called alternative tunings. Nowadays, this one has kind of been resurrected by Pierre Ben Suzanne, and he calls it, of course, Dadgad. And it's very popular right now, this idea. And I just want to mention one thing also. When I was in California and we were all sitting around the table and having dinner, I distinctly remember that you looked at your Uncle Kiki at one point and said, oh, what about Dadgad? You know, like it was a joke, you know. First of all, don't ever talk to your uncle that way, ever. Second thing is he's not Paul Beckman. You know, he's not Paul Beckman. He deserves better treatment than that. God bless him. So you need to treat him with respect, because when he shows you things like this, you can pick up on him if you're not thinking to yourself, you know, oh, Dadgad, you know. Anyway, so the song that I was going to show you here is Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. And Jimmy Page, of course, uses Dadgad quite a bit. And the song really is pretty easy. And by the way, you know, Dadgad tuning is all through, you know, you can find information on it in music stores and on the internet, and the same thing with Kashmir. I'm gonna just give you a couple ideas of why I think this is a good song, how to play it, etc. If you finger the fifth string on the 5th fret, you have like 3 Ds in a row, right? And then if you take your middle or your index finger and bring it all the way over to string 3, fret 2, to play that A, you get this sound. And then move that A up 1 fret, and then move it up 1 more fret, and then move it up 1 more fret, and then move it up 2 frets. So you have this fingering. I don't know if you can see that. And then, of course, you give it this rhythm. For the song, okay? And I think it's a really interesting rhythm, and most people will not talk about rhythm in this song, they'll just talk about the notes. But the rhythm is actually very, very interesting in this because it's in 3, right? 1, 2, 3, and it's ba-da-dum, 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 right? But that recurring figure, that da-da-da, da-da-da, the first time you hear it, it's right on a downbeat. 1 E and a 2, right? 1 E and but then the next time that it's used as an upbeat. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. So that displacement of the rhythm, I think, is what makes it an interesting figure. And allows you to hear it over and over in the song without getting bored with it, okay? Now, the second part is really just a bunch of chords. And the first one is D. And it starts on a D suspended 4th, and then resolved to a D. And what I'm doing is I'm playing string 1 and 3 up on the 12th fret, and then resolving that third, and then I play a C 2 frets down in the same way, resolve, and then you go down to A, resolve, and then down to G, resolve, then down to F, suspended chord, resolve, and then, so you get etc. Okay? Now, it's interesting that here's the dadgad in action the way that it was originally intended, because you've got all these other strings that you can strum throughout, that is, keeping the bass and the high notes in kind of an accompaniment. Something about the rhythm of this part. It's syncopated. Here it goes into 4. This part, of course, is in 3. Right? But when you get to this part, it goes into 4. 1, 2, 3, right? Dun 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 da da da. Right? The entire thing is syncopated, but it resolves itself. It resolves the syncopation rhythmically before the next measure starts. So think of the chords as having the value of 3/16 notes. So the first time you play, it's on the downbeat of 1. 1. The second time you play, if you can imagine that every single note is broken down into 4. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, right? Every note subdivided into 4 parts, so it's really 4/16 notes per beat, 16/16 notes per measure, right? 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. Okay, so the first time you play, it's on 1. Bam! Right? And the next chord you play is on the of 1. 1E and a 2, right? So it's 1E and a 2. And then the next time you play is on the and of 2. 1E and a 2E and a. And then you play on the E of 3. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a. And then you play on the downbeat of 4. 4E and. So it's 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and. Does that make sense? Okay. That's why I think that's a really good part. Because it does have that kind of rhythmic interest. So, once you have the keyboard playing the, in a band situation, everyone's, all the guitarists are pounding those chords, you can actually play it an octave down, the whole thing, the whole pattern an octave down, and that would be like this. There's your D chord. I'm playing the first 2 open strings, then I'm fingering string 4 on fret 5, and then string 3 on fret 7, and then resolving it to an F sharp. Okay, so you get the, and then you move that whole thing down to a C, and then you move the whole thing down to an A, and what I've done is I've shifted the pattern up a string and gone back to the original frets that I was playing on, which are string 5 and 7. Resolve, then move that whole thing down a fret, 2 frets. Right, and there's your G, and then your F, and then the, okay, so you get the, and it's very cool if everyone else is going, doing that thing up there and you're going, and not breaking a sweat. Okay. So anyway, I hope this helped. And remember, dadgad, in addition to being something that you can tease other people about, is actually very useful because it has these great open strings down here, and then you can do things up here. And notice all the open strings that can be kept ringing while you're doing things like that. Okay. Anyway, I hope this was helpful to you, and until next time, over and out from Tom.